Check, check. We're going to get started here in about 60 seconds. So if you can, or about 120 seconds. So if you haven't gotten your meal, go ahead and find your seats. We'll get this big night underway. It's going to be a lot of fun. A lot of great players and coaches here tonight. Dwayne Duncan. We have to stand on one side or the other to be here. Yeah, that's okay.
Okay, so Denver's going to bring you.
Cliff's like herding cats.
All right. If you could go ahead and find your seats. Boy, Rex, look at that big screen right there in the middle. How about that? How about that? Highfalutin. All right, everyone, if we could get your attention. A lot of energy in this room, a lot of greatness. More desserts are being put out as we speak. I did not know this was a sugar crowd here tonight, but apparently we ate through the dessert first round, and we've got more on the tables in the back. My name is David Basil. I am the president of the Little Rock Touchdown Club. This is the 15th awards banquet that we've had, and we're so honored to have all these great coaches and players, Hall of Famers, and mamas and daddies and grandpas and coaches and uncles and everybody else here, as well as our Touchdown Club members. This is going to be a big night. This is a night what I consider it's the best of the best. You're looking at the best football players in the state of Arkansas, the best college football players in the state of Arkansas. Yeah, it's worth a round of applause. It's right. It's best of the best, the best coaches. The best coaches in the state of Arkansas. And we're honoring some of the legendary figures that have played the game. One of the greatest safeties ever to play the game, Cliff Harris of the Dallas Cowboys, that we honor every year with the Cliff Harris Award. Willie Roaf, who was an NFL Hall of Famer with 11 Pro Bowls. Can't beat those guys, two of the greatest ever played. Dan Hampton, Darren McFadden, the first year ever Harlan Hill Award being presented here. So we've got the best of small college represented, the best of big college represented, the best of high school represented. So I hope tonight you just sort of, if it's crazy for you, that you can just be in the moment, enjoy what your son or whoever it may be, your relation to the young men up on stage, you enjoy what they've accomplished tonight. Desmond Howard, just want to let you know, my fellow football players, Desmond Howard, there's only been 4 men to ever pick up a football, 4 in the history of the game of football to do what he has done. And that is win a Heisman Trophy and be a Super Bowl MVP. Only 4, which is worth a round of applause right there, the uniqueness and the greatness of that. And then he just has to pile on and be amazing on ESPN every Saturday, every week. It does an amazing job. Exactly right. Amazing job on game day. We're so honored to have him and Rebecca here tonight all the way up from Miami. He didn't have to be here. This is the end of a crazy busy season for him, but Desmond, looking forward to visiting with you a little bit later. But first, without any further ado, we want to bless our food, and we want to bring up a guy. This may be the biggest guy who's ever blessed our food. He was a all-conference lineman for the Razorbacks, played with the great Brandon Burlsworth, who you've seen the movie about. He owns Garrett Excavating, and he's going to be involved with our Touchdown Club for years to come. Please welcome Grant Garrett, everyone.
Thank you, David. If you would, bow your head and please join me in a word of prayer. Heavenly Father, we thank you for this day and the opportunity for all of us to come together and share our common love for football and the trials and tribulations that accompany this great sport to make us better examples as your followers. We ask that you watch over each one of us and our family members and to keep us safe as we come and go from this great event tonight. We ask that you bless the food tonight as well as the hands that have prepared it. In your name we pray. Amen.
Thank you, Grant. How many times do you go back to the buffet line, Grant? I'm just saying. Just one. All right. I wouldn't stop you from going a second if you wanted to. Now, Desmond, I'm going to let you know I'm an old defensive player under Lou Holtz, but I'm also I run a fast up-tempo banquet. So I want to let everybody know this looks like a monumental banquet that'll be done at 11 o'clock tonight. It won't. Not everybody's going to get a chance to speak. We're going to have just a few people who get a chance, some of the few honorees. We're going to enjoy what Cliff and Willie have to say and enjoy what Desmond has to say and some of our award winners. Tonight is just about hearing what some of these athletes have accomplished, some of these coaches have accomplished. And if you could, just want to remind everybody, if you've got somebody who is watching in China or Hawaii, they can go to lrtouchdown.com and watch this a live high-definition stream broadcast, or they can go to the Little Rock Touchdown Club Facebook page. So you got 2 ways if you want to do that now, and then make sure to mute your phone so we don't hear that a little bit later. Also, if you will allow me just a few minutes to thank our amazing sponsors, we'll run through those real quick. First of all, Twin City Limousine, Greg Hatcher and Popeye. We had people coming left and right in from the airport today. Thank you so much to Twin City Limousine, Greg and Popeye. CJRW, one of the best advertising and PR agencies in the South. They also have been helping with the Cliff Harris Award promotion. Thank you, CJRW. 103.7 The Buzz, Justin Akery, Wes Moore, they broadcast every Monday throughout the Touchdown Club. We appreciate them. And, of course, my morning crew on the show with no name. Thank you to those guys. Arkansas Urology, Arkansas's largest urology practice, 8 locations, 17 physicians. Thank you, Tim Langford and Scott Davis. War Memorial Stadium, proud to have the grand old lady as one of our sponsors. A lot of these players and coaches coached and played in that stadium this year, so it's great to have them as one of our sponsors. Farm Bureau, Pulaski County, Todd Dennis, thank you so much for your support. Stephen Reichard, you've been a great supporter to the Touchdown Club. We appreciate you. They have real service for real people, and we are honored that they're a part of the Touchdown Club. Dairy Queen of Arkansas, Blake and Nelson Lively and Todd Ditton. They're opening stores all over the state of Arkansas, and we're proud to be associated with them and their growth. AHOGMAN'S Gameday Superstore, a new sponsor for us. They're sponsoring the Darren McFadden Award. Thanks so much, Steve Jenkins and Cassie Caldwell. You saw the setup out front. If you're a Hog fan, they've got everything you need, and they're sponsoring the Darren McFadden Award, which we'll present a little bit later. Thank you to them. Mike, the Michael C. Erie family. I call him Mike Erie. He's one of my old teammates. He and Deanne are close friends with Dan Hampton. They are sponsoring the Dan Hampton Award and have for the last few years, and they're very close with Dan. And Mike's an old teammate of mine. He's been fighting through some life and death health issues, and I know where Mike's at. But where are you at? Mike, we're glad you're here today. And Deanne, we love you guys and how you support Dan in that award. Thank you. You look better than ever. Also want to thank Verizon Arena, Michael Marion, Janitor George, Jeremy Flynn. Thank you guys for the support this year. Sorry, Michael, the Mississippi State lost so poorly in the bowl game. We know you're aching, but you'll get back on track back in the fall. But thank you, Verizon Arena, for your sponsorship this year. The Big Red Stores, a true family business. I know David Hendricks Jr. and Landon Parker are here in their 20th year. We love the growth of Big Red and all the stores you're opening. We're proud that you're a member of the Touchdown Club. Thank you. CRAIN Automotive. I want to recognize Larry Crane Sr. down here at the very end of the table. And Larry, I just want to say this, and I don't know if Larry wanted me to say this. Larry lost his wife of over 50 years, Janet, a few weeks ago. And it was such a neat relationship, Larry, for other people to see. She was an amazing woman. And your relationship was something that everybody aspires to, and we're sorry for your loss. But we marvel at the kind of relationship you had, and we're blessed that you're here tonight. And we're glad, and we want you here as much as you can be here. He's the largest automobile dealer in the state, 19 dealerships, 800 employees from the state of Arkansas, and a lot of his family and employees are here, and staff are here today. But Larry also helped us with Desmond and getting him here tonight. So Larry, thank you for being here, and we look forward to having you for the rest of the year. The Arkansas, you see Desmond, I'm sweating, man. I don't care. I just sweat. I just go with it. Don't worry. That doesn't bother me any. The Arkansas Democrat Gazette has been here with us since year one. They help pick our high school coaches and players of the year. So real quickly, I want to bring up somebody who's been super supportive. Of course, Wally Hall is founding member and been here since day one. But Amanda Copley, Amanda, would you come up and just say a few words about the Democrat Gazette and your involvement in helping pick some of the best players and coaches in the state? Amanda Copley, everybody.
Good evening. Each week throughout the football season, the Arkansas Democrat Gazette has singled out a player of the week that we have recognized here at the Little Rock Touchdown Club for an outstanding performance. Maybe you've seen them at some of the lunches. It's very heartwarming to see them take that award and be able to honor them for their achievements. Many of these high school players of the year who are with us tonight have also been selected for our All-Arkansas Preps team, such as Little Rock Christian's Justice Hill and Coach J.R. Eldridge of Arkadelphia. They will be honored at our All-Arkansas Preps Banquet June 15th, along with 400 of their fellow athletes who have been selected from across the state as the best in 12 different sports, including, of course, most importantly, football. We look forward to honoring them again this summer and are excited about our 2019 All-Arkansas Preps speaker, LA Charger tight end Hunter Henry. So on behalf of the Arkansas Democrat Gazette, I'm excited to continue our ongoing partnership with the Touchdown Club and its end-of-the-year banquet. We are honored to have the Arkansas Democrat Gazette High School Players and Coaches of the Year recognized here tonight. We're extremely proud of these individuals and their accomplishments this season. Congratulations to all of you.
Next, I mentioned the Cliff Harris Award that goes to the top small college defensive player of the year. That award is giving out to where you have 3 different divisions. You've got 5,000 potential winners. It's amazing. 500 colleges are eligible for this award. We could not have created it in honor of Cliff Harris if it weren't for the Wright, Lindsay, and Jennings law firm. And Judy Henry was the supporting person that led the way the entire time. And I played football with her husband at Arkansas. He's a great guy. And Judy, why don't you come up and just say something real quick? Judy Henry, everybody. Thank you.
Thank you, David. Good evening. Tonight we're here to celebrate the Cliff Harris Award and the accomplishments of Corey Ballantyne, who was selected as our 2018 Cliff Harris Award winner. Corey's accomplishments and achievements, both on and off the field, just let him rise to the top of the selection committee as they look through the nominations. Corey, you really defied the odds to be here tonight, selected among 5,000 plus players, defensive players from the small college divisions across the country. After a very grueling freshman football camp at Washburn University in Topeka, Corey considered quitting football. Instead, he rose to the challenge and emerged from the experience physically strengthened, mentally sharpened, and more determined than ever to make the next play his very best. It's this strength and character, along with the support of his coaches, who are here tonight, welcome, and his teammates and family, that made Corey a 3-year starter, an All-MIAA, an NCAA Division II All-American honoree, and a bona fide NFL prospect. Listen to these stats. Corey averaged over 24 yards per kickoff return in his career at Washburn. He recorded 186 career tackles with 113 solo stops, 10 tackles for a loss, 4 forced fumbles, 5 interceptions, and a 5-time member of the MIAA Academic Honor Roll. So between football and track, he accomplished all that. Oh yes, track. He is also a standout sprinter for Washburn U Ichabod's. And he was also a high school state champion track and field guy. Corey, you're here tonight because of your grit, your passion, and your determination, which actually mirrors Cliff Harris, our own diamond in the rough. Cliff emerged from Division II ranks as well to win 5 Super Bowls with the Dallas Cowboys, play in 6 Pro Bowls, and be inducted into the Dallas Cowboys Ring of Honor, all despite being undrafted. So like Cliff, the sky is definitely the limit for you. So we look forward to watching you play in Alabama in the Reese's Senior Bowl at the end of this month, and then for your accomplishments in the future. So we at Wright, Lindsay, and Jennings celebrate our 6th anniversary in support of the Cliff Harris Award and also the Little Rock Touchdown Club. Like you all, we are spirited football fans and faithful Touchdown Club attendees. As a business attorney who gets directly involved with student athletes, gets involved with sports throughout my life, and I'm so grateful to have this opportunity to speak tonight and then to advocate for student athletes, for coaches, for schools, and for businesses across the country. So thank you, David, for your tireless efforts. We would not be here tonight without David Basil, and he deserves the biggest round of applause of all tonight. And his sidekick and associate, Debbie Wyman. And I thank you, Desmond Howard, for taking the time to join us tonight and to celebrate the game and these spectacular athletes. I have a prediction for you. I predict that you and your ESPN crew will have the name Corey Valentine on your lips many times behind the ESPN desk over the next few months. Thank you all for being here and hope you have a wonderful evening.
Last but not least, I wanted to acknowledge our presenting sponsor, Simmons Bank. I was telling Desmond that Rex, 5 years ago, Simmons Bank that was fat. Yeah, the $3 million, I think, $3 billion, Desmond, I mentioned that where the bank was just 4 or 5 years ago. Now they're up to $16 billion in 7 states. Founded right in the hometown of Willie Roaf, Pine Bluff, Arkansas, and George Macris's leadership, we couldn't do it without him. And glad to have Richard Johnson and John Moreau here today. John and Richard, they're getting all the football information from Desmond and Willie. But Simmons Banks gives us a chance to take it to the next level, and we couldn't do it without the help of Simmons. And let's give Simmons Bank, our presenting sponsors, and all of our sponsors, such a big round of applause. You know, I always bring our guest speakers. I sit them beside our presenting sponsor, and I always wonder if they do any business deals. So, Desmond, I'm going to check a little bit later to say, hey, are any business deals done between Desmond and Simmons Bank? So we'll see. I do want to acknowledge our amazing team that we have with the Touchdown Club. First of all, Brent Bailey, Ryan Terry at the embassy. They set this place up, do a great job. Thank you for what they do. They're tireless in supporting us. Matt Johnson, who handles all of our AV, Local Fidelity 6, does a great job of high definition streaming. Dwayne Duncan, who's taken our pictures for 10, 15 years. Dwayne, thank you so much. And we have Nelson Chenault, one of the top photographers in America here, assisting Dwayne and taking photos as well. Social media, RJ Hawk Media Solutions. Thank you to RJ. Meredith Scott is also assisting with social media from CareLink. At LR Touchdown Club is our Twitter account. Of course, Instagram and Facebook are also available with the Touchdown Club. Todd Pierce and Jeremy Muck, thank you so much for all the work you do on the Touchdown Club. Evan Nelson and Ashland Brothers helping out tonight. And then we have an amazing group of men and women, Desmond, who work every Monday and checking people in and setting up all these things on the tables. And they do it for free every week because they love the Touchdown Club. And I want that group, if you're here as one of our volunteers, to please stand. Let's give them a round of applause, as well as Debbie Wyman, our executive director back in the back, who does a terrific job. Debbie's Army, our guys, there they are right there. Men and women both do an outstanding job. We couldn't do the Touchdown Club without them. I was telling Desmond was saying, Cliff, that growing up, he was a Cowboy fan. When he would play in the backyard, he would be Tony Dorsett. And so I thought maybe he was going to say Cliff Harris, but he didn't say that. But Tony Dorsett is a good one, too. But he mentioned, the first name he mentioned was Too Tall Jones. I said, we had Too Tall Jones this year. We had Too Tall Jones, Mean Joe Green, Larry Zonka, Earl Campbell, Steve Atwater, Mac Brown, just to name a few. That's who we had this year. And we couldn't do it without everybody here tonight. I know a lot of you are newbies for the first time, but all of this, it's just a success because we're a team, and tonight is just a byproduct of how well and how hard we've worked. I want to recognize some special guests we have in the audience before we start our awards. First of all, the ladies behind the men. Listen, there's no doubt that Desmond is successful, but he wouldn't be successful without his wife. And she decided to come with him all the way up from Miami. Please welcome Rebecca Howard. Rebecca, thank you for being here. I know this woman is the woman behind, keeps Cliff Harris in line. Karen Harris, where is Karen? Please stand up. Karen does a wonderful job in making sure that Cliff and I don't talk on the phone too much. And last but not least, the biggest man in the room. The biggest man in the room has a wonderful wife, too, Willie Rofe. Angela Rofe. Angela, please stand up and let's welcome Angela Rofe. Speaking of football royalty, I got a phone call when Desmond was announced, but my buddy Keith Jackson. Keith said, well, you know that Desmond and I were teammates on the Green Bay Packers Super Bowl team, so I got to come. So Keith Jackson and his wife Melanie is here. Let's welcome them. Keith Jackson. No, Melanie's not here. She told you to go without her, huh? Great to have Keith. Desmond had a chance. He talks about a lot of time the Broyles Award. We're so honored to have the daughter of Frank Broyles and his grandson. We have Betsy Broyles Arnold and Jacob Arnold. Where are they at? Please stand. Betsy and Jacob back there. It's football royalty right there. Now, Matt, I don't know if you can get the shot behind me, but we're going to be handing out these trophies here shortly. Every one of these sculptures, except for the Harlan Hill Award, which is a new award we'll talk about here in a minute for our Touchdown Club, all of them were done by hand by an artist by the name of Raymond Gibby. He's an Arkansan, but he's living in Seattle. And I thought it was time that we bring Raymond Gibby here. I mean, he did every one of these, the McFadden, the Hampton, the Rofe, the Cliff Harris. He did them. I did an amazing job. I hope you get a chance to look at him. He and his wife are celebrating their 21st anniversary here tonight. We brought them in from Seattle. So Raymond and Amy, where are you at? Please stand and let's give them a round of applause right here. There they are. I've told Raymond, though, no more trophies. Do not let me mention one more trophy, one more person. But you've heard me say that before, right? Okay. Maybe a Desmond Howard trophy. How about that? Maybe so. I also want to recognize from the Great American Conference who helps execute the Harlan Hill Award, Will Pruitt and Eric Moyer. Will, thank you so much for your leadership, and Eric as well as making sure we get the voting in for the Harlan Hill. Did a terrific job there. We also have Coach Bobby Allen and Michael Minshew that are here from the U of A. We appreciate the effort. Of course, Bobby Allen, he had two sons that were honored here many years, the Allen boys at quarterback for the Razorbacks, and great to have Bobby and Michael here. And I know we've got a lot of coaches here. So real quick, I want, if you're a coach, not on stage, if you're an assistant coach that has come here to recognize or support one of your kids, assistant or head coach, I want you to stand right now. Let's give the coaches out here that are not on the head stage. Is Blake here? Did Blake make it? Yeah. Okay, I just want to make sure. I'd heard he was going to be here, but coaches, these players would tell you they couldn't do it without you, and it's a win-win deal when we have all of you here together, and we're honored that you're here as well. All right, first up, our first award. This is something fun we do in honor of Steve Sullivan. You can see the banner right up there. If you're here in Central Arkansas, nobody is a more fantastic broadcaster. He's a Hall of Fame broadcaster. Nobody brings the energy. He's the best broadcaster in the state of Arkansas. He's been recognized many times. So we created the SULLY Award. The SULLY Award is what he does is that he awards the best high school and college football call, and that is play-by-play. And so we've got 3 finalists in high school. I'm going to ask you to stand up. We're going to play your call, and at the end I will announce the winner. SULLY looks for a couple different things. He maybe look for energy. He maybe look for accuracy. Maybe look for creativity. It's whatever Sully sees, but when Sully hears it, he knows it. So first, representing Fountain Lake, Mark Oliver, Tracy Simpson, please stand. Let's welcome them. Where are they at? All right. Now, let's, if you could, let's hear their call, Matt.
Whitley in the gun. Here we go. 2nd and 15. 5 wide to the right. There's the pick. It's picked up. Simpson. Intercepted. Intercepted. Colson Simpson's got it. Oh, my goodness. Colson Simpson on senior night. The catch of his life.
Oh my God, are you kidding me?
There you go. Thank you, Mark Oliver and Tracy Simpson, Fountain Lake. My co-worker at 103.7 The Buzz calls a ton of games. He's an excellent broadcaster. RJ Hawk, where's RJ? Please stand and let's hear RJ's call if you can, Matt.
Looking to throw, Cotton's under pressure, and he's sacked, fumbled, ball's picked up, and we could have a scoop and score. Running out the 50, 45, 40, 35, 30, 25, 20, 15, 10, 5, touchdown Hornets. You can put an exclamation point on this one, boys, because the state championship's headed to Bryan, Arkansas after Nate Wallace gets the scoop and score and takes it to the house.
RJ Hawk, everyone. Very nice, RJ. Yeah, that is tougher than it seems. That is not as easy as it seems to do that. Our last high school broadcaster, Tim Terry from Greenwood. Tim, will you please stand? Matt, will you punch up Tim Terry's call from Greenwood?
Here's Holt to throw. 2nd and 10. Looking left the whole way. Pocket collapses. He shakes the first defender. Shakes the second, third, 30. 25 on the run. Stutter steps. Got back to the line. Still on his feet. Let's go. 20, 15, 10. Touchdown. You got to be kidding me. The ice cream man putting on a show. Oh, baby. 24-yard run.
Look at the bench coaches over there going, what was that?
Tim Terry, Greenwood, everybody.
Oh, my goodness. If you didn't see it, you'll have to
Bears would love to put a few more points on the board. Double move down the sideline. Has a man, it's Brandon Myers. 40-30, 20-15 Cat. Touchdown, Central Arkansas, Brandon Myers. And you saw that one set up from the get-go. A little double move for 84.
Justin Ecker, everybody. Great job, Justin. Let's hear it. And a two-time winner from OBU. He's the voice of the Tigers, has been for 30 years, and actually got national recognition for one of his calls this year. Rex Nelson, who is also vice president of the Touchdown Club. Let's hear his call.
Out of Sheridan, who had 3 touchdowns a week ago in the 42-0 win. Fake on the jet sweep. Brown's got right through. He's to the 3. He's to the 1. He's to the land of milk and honey on homecoming afternoon.
And the Sully Award for colleges, all 3 great calls. Rex Nelson, OBU.
Thank you. Thanks, David. Appreciate it.
6 outstanding broadcasters all do a great job, and we're lucky to have those guys here in the state of Arkansas calling football on Fridays and Saturdays. Next, we want to introduce our National Football Foundation Scholar Athlete of the Year from one of these high school students. Where am I at? Let's see here. Over here. We picked somebody that the Arkansas Sports Hall of Fame selected a player that was well-rounded in both academics, off the field, on the field, in a way to honor them with their Scholar Athlete of the Year. This young man will receive a $1,000 scholarship from the Arkansas Sports Hall of Fame, who will be involved in the possibility of winning the overall national Scholar Athlete of the Year. The winner goes to a young man who was strong in the classroom. He's a leader on the field. His coaches say he sets a great example. And I'm just going to tell one story. Desmond, we had a situation at War Memorial Stadium, a sad one, where somebody thought a gun had gone off, and everybody was running for the exits, and it was 25,000 people. And this young man stopped in the middle of that and picked up a person out of a wheelchair and carried them out of harm's way, what he thought was harm's way. And I think that's indicative of the young man he is. So our winner this year of the National Football Foundation Scholar Athlete of the Year, Latavion Scott, running back from Bryant. Latavion will also be honored with the Darren McFadden Award, and he's also the 7A Player of the Year, which we'll mention in just a second. So up next now, what we're going to do, we're going to bring up Rex Nelson, who will introduce audio on all of our high school players and coaches. How much better I get to introduce you after you've won an award. Rex Nelson, everybody. Come on up, Rex.
Thank you, David, and thank you, everyone, for being here tonight. This is such a special night every year for all of us involved with the Little Rock Touchdown Club, because we get to honor the players and the coaches that we talk about all year. When this club was formed, I remember David and I had the conversation, other founders had the conversation. It is called the Little Rock Touchdown Club for a reason, and that is that we salute all of football. And as you heard from Amanda earlier, high school football is a very, very important part of what we do. We honor a high school player of the week every week here. We urge our people to get out and see high school football games. One of our sponsors of this club is War Memorial Stadium, of course, which hosts 6 state championship games every year. I love high school football. David loves high school football. Everybody associated with this club does. So one of the real honors of this banquet is to be able to honor a player of the year and a coach of the year from every high school classification. And as we roll the tape, what I would ask you to do is, when you hear your name called, would you please stand, and then at the end hold your applause till we finish talking about each one of them, and then you can applaud them. But let's go to the tape. R.J. Hawk's going to introduce our players of the year and then our coaches of the year for high school football in 2018 in the state of Arkansas.
It's now time for our 2018 Little Rock Touchdown Club High School Players of the Year. 2A Player of the Year, Dante Gibson, Junction City. No matter the season, there's always great athletes at Junction City. This senior running back was one of the latest, finishing with 1,742 yards and 24 touchdowns as the Dragons defeated Hazen in the Class 2A state championship game. In the Class 2A title game, he rushed for 153 yards and 2 touchdowns and was named MVP. Class 2A Player of the Year, Dante Gibson, Junction City. Class 3A Player of the Year, Malik Chavis, Risen. The Risen Wildcats were lifted by this terrific senior athlete in 2018. Before signing with the University of Arkansas, he recorded 42 tackles and had 5 pass breakups to lead the Wildcats to a Class 3A semifinal appearance. Class 3A opponents won't be sorry that he's exhausted his eligibility with this Cleveland County school. Class 3A Player of the Year, Malik Chavis, Risen. 4A Player of the Year, Zach Williams, Joe T. Robinson. His coach Todd Escola said he went full tilt on every play. The Robinson Senators' opponents would agree. In his final season with the Senators, this senior defensive lineman was dominant. With 105 tackles and a state-high 20 sacks, he followed in the footsteps of his father, Ricky, and signed to play at the University of Arkansas. Class 4A Player of the Year, Zach Williams, Joe T. Robinson. 5A Player of the Year, Justice Hill, Little Rock Christian Academy. This dynamic athlete proved himself as one of the state's top playmakers in 2018. Despite a hamstring injury that kept him out 2 games, the senior quarterback still accounted for 3,700 yards and 55 touchdowns offensively for the Warriors, who won their first Class 5A state championship, aided by his MVP performance versus Pulaski Academy. He is signed to play basketball at the University of Arkansas. Class 5A Player of the Year, Justice Hill, Little Rock Christian Academy. Class 6A Player of the Year, Peyton Holt, Greenwood. 1 year at quarterback on the varsity level? No problem for this multi-sport athlete. The wide receiver who turned signal caller, who will play baseball at Louisiana Lafayette, led Greenwood to its 2nd consecutive state championship and 9th overall. He earned MVP honors in the Class 6A state championship game against Benton by accounting for 368 yards and 5 touchdowns offensively. Class 6A Player of the Year, Peyton Holt, Greenwood. Class 7A Player of the Year, Latavian Scott, Bryant. There was no doubt as to what the Bryant Hornets were going to do offensively: run the football. This senior running back led the Hornets with 1,800 yards and 24 touchdowns on 255 carries. In Bryant's 27-7 Class 7A state championship victory over North Little Rock, he rushed for a game-high 153 yards and 3 touchdowns on 31 carries to earn the game's MVP award. Class 7A Player of the Year, Latavian Scott, Bryant. And now for our 2018 Little Rock Touchdown Club High School Coaches of the Year. 2A Coach of the Year, Stephen Jones, Junction City. Junction City is one of the state's premier programs regardless of classification. And in 2018, the Dragons returned to the top of the Class 2A mountain. Under this second-year coach and 2006 alumnus, the Dragons claimed their 7th Class 2A state championship in school history and their first since 2014. Class 2A Coach of the Year, Stephen Jones, Junction City. Class 3A Coach of the Year, Scott Hyatt, Boonville. Guess who was the only coach in the state to lead his team to an undefeated record in 2018? It's the leader of the Boonville Bearcats. This Logan County school finished 15-0 and shut out Osceola 35-0 in the Class 3A state championship game for their 4th title and their first since 2013. Class 3A Coach of the Year, Scott Hyatt, Boonville. 4A Coach of the Year, J.R. Eldridge, Arkadelphia. Arkadelphia was the defending Class 4A state champion heading into the 2018 season, but the Badgers lost their first 5 games. This former Ouachita Baptist player and assistant coach would not allow the Badgers to get into a deeper hole as they won their final 5 games of the regular season and knocked off 4 number 1 seeds in the Class 4A playoffs, including a 28-0 shutout of 7-4A champion Joe T. Robinson in the Class 4A title game. Class 4A Coach of the Year, J.R. Eldridge, Arkadelphia. 5A Coach of the Year, Eric Koyu, Little Rock Christian Academy. Little Rock Christian knew what it was up against in the Class 5A state championship game, facing its longtime rival Pulaski Academy. Their coach kept them even-keeled not only in the title game, but all season long. In just his 2nd year at the West Little Rock School, he led the Warriors to their first state championship by ending Pulaski Academy's 4-year run atop Class 5A. Class 5A Coach of the Year, Eric Koyu, Little Rock Christian Academy. 6A Coach of the Year, Rick Jones, Greenwood. Making 8 straight championships at Greenwood for this Harding University graduate and 5th trip to the Banquet since 2015. The Bulldogs lost their season opener at Fort Smith Northside, but went on to win their final 12 games to win a second consecutive Class 6A state championship. Greenwood finished 12-1 with a 45-14 rout of fellow 6A West Conference member Benton in the Class 6A title game. Class 6A Coach of the Year, Rick Jones, Greenwood. 7A Coach of the Year, Buck James, Bryant. The Bryant Hornets had never won a state championship before the 2018 season, but the Hornets bought into this veteran high school coach who has a track record of success. The Saline County School knocked off their 7A Central Conference rival, North Little Rock, in the Class 7A state championship game for their first title in school history. Class 7A Coach of the Year, Buck James, Bryant. Ladies and gentlemen, another big round of applause for your high school players and coaches of the year.
You did notice that Justice Hill was not with us. I was talking to his father, Fitzgerald Hill. As you know, Justice is signed on at semester to the basketball program at the University of Arkansas. And I think after that game last night, practice went a little long today, David, is what I understood. Hopefully a little free throw shooting practice there. An editorial comment here at a football banquet. But, you know, Fitzgerald and I've got a few years on him, but we share the same high school alma mater and the same college alma mater. And what a year we had. Our high school alma mater wins its second consecutive state championship. Thank you, Coach Eldridge. And our college alma mater goes undefeated in the regular season. So let's talk about colleges right now. And again, it's the same thing I said about high schools. We honor every level. One of the things that we determined when we started the club is that every week we would do a recap and we would talk about every football program in the state. And we've had football programs added at Hendricks, added at Line since we started the program. We now have in Arkansas 2 FBS programs, 2 FCS programs, 6 Division II programs, 1 Division III program, 1 NAI program, and 1 junior college program. And we will honor all 13 of those players every year here. It's fun to watch college football in this state at every level. I get the pleasure, as you heard, of spending every other weekend at least for home games at Cliff Harris Stadium, where we see Cliff Harris a lot these days. It's amazing, David, now that the stadium's named after him, how many games he shows up to. So I get the honor of being in Cliff Harris Stadium, but we urge our members to get out to a college football game every week. And like I said, we honor and recognize every school in the state. Taylor Porter from UAPB could not be with us. Scooter Harris from Arkansas could not be with us. All of the other players are with us, though. Again, we will ask you to stand when you hear your name, and RJ is going to give you our 13 college players of the year from the state of Arkansas.
Receiver and kick returner. It's now time for our 2018 Little Rock Touchdown Club College MVPs. Hendricks College MVP, punter Garrett Wolf. Field position is crucial in football, and this Hendricks Warrior provided it. The Midlothian, Texas native had 50 punts in 2018, averaging an outstanding 41 yards per kick. 16 of his punts landed inside the 20-yard line, all playing a key role in the field position game for the Warriors this season. Hendricks College MVP, Garrett Wolf. Arkansas Baptist MVP, wide receiver Kendriel Johnson. Arkansas Baptist College finished 8-2 in 2018 and even reached #1 in the National Independent Junior College poll. It was by far the best season in school history, and it was led by this Forest City receiver and kick returner who had 16 receptions for 164 yards and caught 4 touchdown passes for the Buffaloes. Arkansas Baptist MVP, Kendriel Johnson. Lyon College MVP, kicker Ignacio Gomez. As we all know, special teams is one of the 3 key phases of the game of football, and Lyon College was more than happy with this Wilmer, Texas kicker and punter. He made an impressive 19 of 22 field goal attempts and was also 19 of 22 on extra point attempts. As a punter, he averaged a solid 40 yards per kick. Lyon College MVP, Ignacio Gomez. Arkansas Tech MVP, running back Brian Allen. This Forest City native was a highlight of the Arkansas Tech season. He led the entire Great American Conference in rushing with 911 yards and 5 touchdowns on 202 carries. He finished his career by also becoming the Wonder Boys career leader in rushing with 3,611 yards. Arkansas Tech MVP, Brian Allen. Henderson State MVP, running back Logan Moraine. After missing the 2017 season because of injury, this ready running back was ready to go in 2018. The Little Rock Central graduate rushed for 707 yards and 5 touchdowns on 118 carries. That 6-yard per carry average was good enough to be a selection on the All-Great American Conference team. Henderson State MVP, Logan Moraine. Arkansas Monticello MVP, tight end DeAndre Washington. The University of Arkansas at Monticello's offense showcased one of the top tight ends in Division II football. This Shreveport, Louisiana native caught 36 passes for 615 yards and 6 touchdowns in 2018 to help the Boll Weevils reach the Corsicana Bowl. Even though he's only a sophomore, he was a first-team selection by the Great American Conference. Arkansas Monticello MVP, DeAndre Washington. Southern Arkansas MVP, wide receiver Karance Higgins. A Harlan Hill Trophy nominee as one of the best players in the country, this Searcy native shined for Southern Arkansas. This gifted speedster caught 73 passes for 1,150 yards and 9 touchdowns for the Mule Riders and finished his career as the all-time school record holder with 191 catches and almost 3,000 yards receiving. Southern Arkansas MVP, Karance Higgins. Harding MVP, defensive end TJ Winslow. This 2018 Great American Conference Defensive Player of the Year and Cliff Harris Award finalist was a nightmare for opposing offenses. The Houston native recorded 10.5 sacks, 3 forced fumbles, and 1 fumble recovery for Harding. In addition to being Conference Player of the Year, he was also selected as an American Football Coaches Association All-American. Harding MVP, TJ Winslow. Ouachita Baptist MVP, wide receiver Ladarius McElroy. Ouachita Baptist won a school record 12 games with only its 2nd undefeated regular season in history and captured its 2nd consecutive Great American Conference championship. This 6'6" Ashdown native was a key part of the offense that averaged 431 yards and 33 points per game. The senior wide receiver finished 2018 with 18 receptions for 301 yards and 3 touchdowns for the Tigers. Ouachita Baptist MVP, Ladarius McElroy. UAPB MVP, running back Taylor Porter. The ground game for the University of Arkansas at Pine Bluff came courtesy of this junior college transfer. In his first year with the Golden Lions after coming from ASA College in Miami, he rushed for 1,220 yards and 9 touchdowns on 226 carries. He was a first-team All-SWAC selection at running back after leading the conference in total yards rushing and yards rushing per game. UAPB MVP, Taylor Porter. UCA MVP, running back Carlos Blackman. When Central Arkansas needed to run the ball, it turned to this 6'1", 225-pound Gosnell native. He rushed for 786 yards and 9 touchdowns on 163 carries in Nathan Brown's first season as head coach. He caught 16 passes for 130 yards and even threw a touchdown pass. The Southland Conference named this junior a first-team running back. UCA MVP, Carlos Blackman. Arkansas MVP, linebacker Dijon Scuda Harris. This junior linebacker was all over the field for the Arkansas Razorbacks. He recorded a team-high 118 tackles, including 9 for a loss. The Harvey, Louisiana native was a second-team All-SEC pick by the Associated Press and will return for his senior season in 2019. Arkansas MVP, Dijon Scuda Harris. And Arkansas State MVP, quarterback Justice Hansen. In his final season at Arkansas State, this senior quarterback was on point. He passed for 3,500 yards with 27 touchdowns to help the Red Wolves earn a berth to the Arizona Bowl. The 27 passing touchdowns were second most in school history, which led to a 2nd consecutive Sun Belt Player of the Year award after leading the conference in total offensive yards per game and passing yards per game. Arkansas State MVP, Justice Hansen. Ladies and gentlemen, another big round of applause for your 2018 college MVPs.
That is the best of the best right there, Desmond. That is those are the top players and coaches from around the state, and we're honored to have you here. And I thought it'd be appropriate if you're a mother or father or a grandparent of one of these players or coaches or wife, we want you to stand up and let's recognize you for your performance this year and for many years in the past. Parents, stand up. Wives, stand up. Let's give them a round of applause. Come on, don't be shy. And I know there are a lot of grandmas and grandpas and uncles and aunts out there too. All right, it's now time to talk about our large awards, which are named after some of the greats in Arkansas history, as well as our additional Harlan Hill Award for the first time ever here at the Touchdown Club. We start with the Darren McFadden Award. This is the first year of the Darren McFadden Award.
Don't strain anything. Yeah.
So Raymond Gibby, who I introduced earlier, did this marvelous sculpture of Darren. This is when he had not seen this picture. When I showed it to him, he says, "Man, I love that." And so Raymond Gibby nailed it. And so what we'll do, all the awards tonight for the college level, we present a trophy. For the high school level, we get the largest plaque that you'll ever see in any home or office. Obviously, the reason there's a Darren McFadden Award for the first time, he's one of obviously the greatest running backs to ever play. He is the greatest running back to ever play at the University of Arkansas, two-time Heisman Trophy winner. How ironic that he just went into the College Football Hall of Fame was announced this week. And Darren was very excited about doing this award. So I said, Darren, bottom line, this is what it is you get to choose every year who you feel is the best high school running back and the best college running back. You can decide. It could be the best yards per carry. It could be the most explosive. Doesn't matter. When you look on film, you get to choose it. So I sent him actual film of 5 to 6 of the top running backs in high school and 4 or 5 of the top running backs in college, and he made his choice. And he could not be here with us today. He was very disappointed about that, but he did a video today. And Matt, if we can do the video, if we can show the video, that would be terrific.
What's up, Little Rock Touchdown Club? I want to say it's a great honor to have this award named after me. I'm sorry that I couldn't be there to present the award, but I know there's 2 young guys that are very well deserving of it. My high school guy, Latavion Scott from Bryant High School, who rushed for over 1,800 yards this year and led his team to a state championship and was the MVP of that game. He's done a great job all year, and I wish him luck in the future. And my college guys are King Boy. He's been doing a great job for the University of Arkansas. He's averaged over 6 yards a carry versus the SEC play and had over 20-something receptions this year. You know, I want to congratulate those 2 guys, and I wish them the best in the future. And I want to send a big thank you out to the Little Rock Touchdown Club and the HOGMAN'S Gameday Superstores.
Darren McFadden, everybody. There you go. And as he did mention, do want to thank Steve Jenkins, Cassie Caldwell, and the gang at AHOGMAN'S Gameday Superstore for sponsoring the first ever Darren McFadden Award. So what we're going to do at this point, the high school guys, you're off the hook. You don't have to say anything, but we're going to allow the college winners to say a few words. So first, we've already mentioned him as the 4A Player of the Year. He's the son of my old teammate at Arkansas, Ricky Williams. He was almost, I just had a mental blank there. I went from running back to defensive end. How about that? As I said before, CTE is real. I am so sorry. I am so sorry. We first are going to start with a running back who we've already met from the 7A, who was our 7A Player of the Year. It was an amazing job, as you heard. Please give a big round of applause for Latavion Scott from Bryant. Congratulations. Is that big enough plaque for him? All right. Next is the collegiate winner, Rakeem Boyd. I didn't realize when we made the trophy 30 pounds, Rakeem would have his arm in a sling. So what we're going to do, we're going to invite him up here. We're going to take a picture and let him say a few words. The first ever Darren McFadden Award for college, Rakeem Boyd, Arkansas. No, King.
I just want to thank my coaches, my family, and everyone around here who made all this happen. Thank y'all a lot.
Next, we have the Dan Hampton Award. As you know, Dan Hampton was one of the most fierce defensive linemen in the history of the game, both for the Chicago Bears and an All-American for the Arkansas Razorbacks, right here from Jacksonville, Arkansas. And I failed to mention Darren McFadden, right here in Little Rock. He's a Little Rock native, and again, those were why we named these awards after these great men. They're Arkansans. Dan did the same thing. I send Dan film on the top high school linemen, the top college linemen. He watches them, he evaluates. Interesting, his first two winners happened to be from the University of Arkansas. It was the same guy. It was Trey Flowers, who turned out to be a pretty good NFL lineman right now. So Dan couldn't be here either. So Matt, if we could punch up, these are always interesting when Dan does these videos. And I want you also to look at Dan's fingers. It's like a road map. They go a lot of different directions. Dan Hampton.
Hi, everybody. It's Dan Hampton. And once again, I am so happy to be here tonight to announce the winners of the Dan Hampton Award. First, let's talk about the high school winner. Zach Williams is the high school winner of the Dan Hampton Award. Zach had a marvelous year. He's got a lot of ability, a lot of speed, a lot of quickness. Made a lot of plays. When I'm watching the film on him, he a lot of times not even blocked. And I mean, that is great. That's a great luxury to have. You know, some people got it, I remember when I didn't get blocked, Lou Holtz used to say, that's because they saw me before the game and they didn't think I would suspect anything. Anyway, the end of the day, Zach, he is the award for the Dan Hampton Award for the high school for 2018. Now, for the collegiate winner of the Dan Hampton Award, Armand Watts. Armand Watts was a fifth-year senior. Worked hard year after year after year, kind of came out of nowhere this year. The leader in the entire collegiate ranks at defensive tackle as far as getting to the quarterback with sacks was 7. And Armand Watts had 7 sacks. So, I mean, he tied virtually every other interior defensive lineman in the nation. He's from St. Louis. Missouri's motto is the show me state. Armand showed everyone what he was made of. I remember his best play against Eastern Illinois in the north end zone in game 2 or 3. It was a strip sack. It gave us a lot of impetus. We were able to convert for points. You know, Armand, you definitely worked hard this year. You deserve this award, and good luck in the future to both Zach and Armand. And I want to thank David Bassel for creating the award some years ago, and of course Mike Erie and family for coming up with the cash to buy this thing, okay? They're beautiful. Thank you. God bless you, and go Hogs.
Dan Hampton, everybody. All right, so as I was mentioning earlier, so cool to have one of my old teammates, Ricky Williams, who was was on the all-decade team at the Razorbacks in the 80s. Tremendous athlete, played with Keith Jackson at Parkview, was fast as lightning, and his son, Zach, is just like him, but Ricky's about 5 inches taller. And as Dan said, when you watch it on film, nobody could block him. And we hope he has success at the University of Arkansas. Please welcome Zach Williams, your Dan Hampton High School winner. Zach Williams, everybody. And as Dan said, pretty amazing, Armand Watts, a guy who had really not done much in his career, statistic-wise, or only played 113 snaps before this year. Comes out of nowhere and becomes one of the top sack leaders in America from the defensive tackle position, and now has a chance to play at the next level in the NFL. It's an amazing story, very deserving. Please welcome Armand Watts, your Dan Hampton Award collegiate winner.
First off, I want to thank everybody for coming out tonight. I want to thank Dan Hampton and his family for presenting me with the award. I just want to thank the state of Arkansas for sticking with me throughout the whole 5 years. It's paid off, as you see, and it's a great award. I couldn't thank my family enough for sticking with me. Great friends, David Lipsmeyer, and again, thanks to all the fans. Thank you.
We'll have Armand up one more time tonight, as he's also the winner of the Paul Eels Award. Next, we move to, as I mentioned, one of the greatest offensive linemen to ever play the game, Willie Roaf, 11-time Pro Bowler, NFL Hall of Famer. I was telling a couple of people in the hotel, said, "How big is that guy?" And I said, I'm not going to say how much I think Willie weighs, but I know when he played, he's about 300 pounds. But what made Willie so great, he was so light on his feet. He was so athletic. Arkansas did not recruit him. He ends up going to Louisiana Tech, becoming an All-American, first-round draft choice, NFL Hall of Fame after 11 Pro Bowl seasons. And he does the same thing. He looks at all the film, looks at the top offensive linemen in high school and college, and he evaluates and picks his winner. Without further ado, it's always great to have him here. Willie Roaf, everybody.
Yeah, David, thank you for having me. It's always great to come here. You know, my dad was so proud of being from Arkansas. My dad played at Michigan State, and I remember one year I couldn't come, and I was talking over there with the gentleman about how good a job he did. But I don't know, David, if this is, you know, Frank Wagner was special, but I think this class is real special to me. The kids that won awards, and I want to acknowledge my friends and family. I get to come back every year. It's like a reunion to see all my friends and family that are here. And my wife, Angela, 5 years she's been putting up with me. So that's a long time, David, to deal with me. But and Desmond, you know, me and Desmond played in the Pro Bowl together one year, and he's always been a great guy. And my buddy Keith Jackson right here. But a few words about the players this year. Camden standout player Stanley Wilkins has been known for the Willie Roaf High School Award. Wilkins also will be taking his talents to Oklahoma after over 30 years. Came his way with the who's of college football knocking on his door. I know a lot of Razorback people they're upsetting, but you know, he chose a pretty good program. But Arkansas is going to get better. I know, you know, I cheer for him now. I know they asked me to walk on, so they did. They didn't recruit me, but they asked me to walk on, so a little late. but I passed the SAT a little late too, so that was my fault. You know, he's 6'6.5", left tackle. His coach, Jeremiah Mondin's Cardinals went to a 5-2 conference record this past season. Stanley recorded over 70-plus pancake knockdowns and only allowed one sack his junior year, and he was among the best in the country at his position. His cousin, Sean Andrews, y'all know him, and Stacey Andrews both played professionally, and he has the hope to follow in his footsteps. He also just played in the All-American Bowl inside the Alamo Bowl in San Antonio, Texas. And my next one, I'm so proud of this young man for winning this award, Bryce Bray. And, you know, Bryce Bray wins the college award. He's from Harding, Arkansas. What stood out about Bryce was his consistency, playing in every game. 50 starts is a lot in any program on any level, and not missing any time is special. To me, it's not the size of the program, it's the level of play and what he did at Harding that made it a no-brainer to make him the winner. He earned this award over the course of his career. Bryce comes from a really athletic family. His dad played football, was outstanding lineman in college at Arkansas Monticello, twice under late UAM Hall of Famers Carl Preston and Tommy Barnes. With that said, we also have another outstanding Bo Weevil offensive lineman that was in the UAM Hall of Fame on stage with us tonight, who grew up in Pine Bluff. That's Bryant's coach, Buck James. Congratulations on leading them to their first ever state title tonight. Bryce has several uncles and cousins that had a lot of success playing football at several colleges over the years throughout Arkansas. I could tell when Bryce, he's proud of his family. His father, who's a coach, he can be with us tonight from Rogers High School, and his mother, Ann Bray, is an English teacher at Elmwood Middle School in Rogers. So I'd like to thank and congratulate these two young men for winning the awards, and thank you again for having me.
All right, so as Willie said, Stacy Wilkins, Camden Fairview, once I sent the video to Willie, it was just, Stacy was mauling everybody. I'm not surprised that Oklahoma gave him an offer. Obviously, you've seen the offense they run at Oklahoma. Lincoln Riley was a Broyles Award winner. So, Stacy, you're going to a great school. You dominated, and we wish the best. Please welcome Stacy Wilkins, everybody, Camden Fairview. And then as Willie mentioned, Bryce Bray from Harding. Did you hear that? He had 50 starts at center. 50. He started 50 games. And in those 50 games, Harding was 40-10. 40-10. They averaged 341 yards rushing. He won the Remington Award for Division 2A, which is the top center in America for 2A. And I love Willie. Now, here's the deal. He mentioned Ragnow, Frank Ragnow. That was the winner of the Willie Rofe Award last year. He's playing on Sundays. But this young man is never going to play another down of football. Didn't matter to Willie. Willie thought he was the best center in the state of Arkansas, and I thought it was great that Willie said, that's my winner. Look at the career he's had. Look at him on film. And then I come to find out that every college in about a 100-mile or 200-mile area is wanting him to be an offensive line coach. I started getting phone calls. I'm not going to say from what college. They said, oh, yeah, we really want him to be a coach up here. So I'm like, oh, my gosh, the guy's like a superstar already. He doesn't have to have a pro ball. But what an outstanding young man from Harding. Please give a big welcome to Bryce Bray, your Willie Rofe winner.
It's just an incredible honor. I just want to say thank you to Willie and the career he's had. A guy, take time of his day to present an award to me. It's pretty special. 11-time Pro Bowler, with the Saints and the Chiefs is pretty awesome. I want to say thank you to Coach Simmons that made the trip down. Gave me a chance to play at Harding, and Coach Chisholm that recruited me as an offensive line. Harding's changed my life, and I'll forever be indebted to that program, what they've done for me. I want to say thanks to my family who's always supporting me and never missed a game, my grandparents, and it's just a huge blessing to be up here. And again, thank you to Willie and the Touchdown Club, Mr. Basil. Thank you. Have a good night.
Our last award before we get to our two national awards is the Paul Ills Award. We see the picture of Paul up there, and I believe, is Vicki Ills here? She's not here. We thought we might be here tonight. She had bronchitis. We love when Vicky's able to make it, but for those who don't know, Paul was a legendary broadcaster, voice of the Razorbacks. We lost him in a tragic car wreck years ago. We decided to do something in his honor, so along with the Arkansas Razorbacks, we picked the Paul Ills Award, and the staff picks this. It goes to the young man that they feel that's overcome the most adversity, shown the most dedication and perseverance every year. And it's been a who's who if you go back and look at some of the past winners. This year's winner was Armand Watts, who you heard Dan Hampton talking about. The amazing thing about Armand Watts, he could have given up on football, only played about 100 snaps. Did you know that Armand Watts did not have one sack in his career? This until his senior year. Didn't have one, not one. But this year, they said in the off season, he showed an unbelievable work ethic and dedication and grind, and no player was surprised at Arkansas that he ended up being one of the top sack guys in the country. And as several people have said, it was not a great season for the Razorbacks this year, but he was one of the highlights. And I don't think it took very long for Chad Morris and his staff to pick Armand Watts as their Paul Ills Award winner. So let's welcome back to the mic Armand Watts, Paul Ills Award winner.
Back again. To receive this award, I was told it's one of the greatest awards in the state of Arkansas. It tells a lot about a man's character, his perseverance. Like David said, it wasn't hard waiting for years for your opportunity to come, but like they say, once you get it, you got to make the best of it, and that's what I chose to do. Took a lot of patience, and it paid off tremendously. So again, thank you for the award. Thank you again.
You know, I know, Desmond, you get a chance to be around a lot of college football players. Don't you love it when you have a chance to be around young men who are, you can just tell in the way they communicate, whether I get a text from Armand or just the way that just well-raised, family raised him right, and just what a great young man, and we wish him the best coming up this in the draft, whether you get drafted, whether you're a free agent, doesn't matter. We believe you're going to be successful, Armand, because you're already a success. So congratulations on 2 awards tonight. All right, it's time for our 2 national awards. One we mentioned, Cliff Harris, already, which we've had for 6 years, but we have something very unique tonight, and I'm going to let somebody who's very familiar with the Harlan Hill Award and its rich history share more about that. Please welcome back to the stage Rex Nelson.
Thank you, David. You know, this award may be new to our club, but it is not new. It has been presented for 33 years to the top player in NCAA Division II football. Harlan Hill Trophy is named for the late Harlan Hill. He was a standout for what's now the University of North Alabama. You old-timers may remember it as Florence State. Excelled for the Lions for 1950 to 1953 before going on to fame in the National Football League with the Chicago Bears. The award was presented there in Florence, Alabama for many years, but then UNA decided to move from Division II up to the FCS level, and it didn't seem right to present a Division II award at a school that was no longer in Division II. They were looking for a home. The Great American Conference said, we can give you a home, so they have teamed with our club to present the award this year. Now, the quarterback that we are honoring tonight, J. Rue Campbell, is no stranger to football fans in Arkansas. We have, of course, athletes and coaches from Harding and Ouachita here tonight, and he led his team during this year's Division II playoffs to victories over our Arkansas teams. Now, all of the Division II sports information directors act as the voters for this award. There were 113 SIDs across the country who participated in the final voting. The point system was 3 points for first place, 2 points for second, 1 place for third. Our honoree tonight received 202 points. That was 76 points ahead of the next closest person, and that was Rogan Wells from Valdosta State, and they would match up against each other in the national championship game. Ferris State went 15-0 this year before falling in the national championship to Valdosta. But for what a year that our honoree had. You know, one of the great things about this award is that it is a family award. The Hill family has remained very close to this award through the years, and so I'm going to introduce Jerry Hill to come up. I want to tell you something about Jerry tonight, though, because he has something unique, too. David, I was telling Jerry, I get to sit in on Tuesday mornings with David and Tommy and Roger on the buzz, and this Tuesday happened to be a holiday here in the South, Elvis's birthday, and we were playing a lot of Elvis music. But as David and I visited early with Jerry, we found out that he grew up just down the road from Graceland in Memphis. Elvis was a huge football fan, you may have known. And Elvis would call up the house and say, we're having an argument over here at Graceland, and ask Jerry's dad, settle this for me. Who won this? Who won that? And then those famous football games you may have read about when Elvis would rent out the entire Liberty Bowl, Desmond, just for touch football games on Sunday afternoon. He was such a star that they just couldn't go out on a play lot, so they would rent the Liberty Bowl. This guy, as a young man, played football on Sunday afternoons with Elvis Presley. So I can guarantee you, we've got the only person in the room here tonight I'm about to introduce that played with Elvis. Please welcome to Little Rock, Jerry Hill, to talk more about the Harlan Hill Award. Jerry, we're honored to have it here.
Oh, it's an honor to be here tonight to represent my late father and my family. We're very appreciative of of this award. And like you said, this has been a family award for 30-something years, and this is equivalent to the Heisman Trophy in Division II. I mean, like you said, it's voted by sports information directors across this nation, and it's been a very big award. And with North Alabama moving up to Division I as a family, you know, we were worried what was going to happen to this. So we can't thank David and Rex and the Little Rock Touchdown Club enough for accepting and carrying on the legacy of this award. And I've got to recognize my family. Like you said, it is a true family. We came all the way from northern Alabama, about 6-hour trip. I'd like to recognize my family, that our dad instilled family values in us that we still carry on today with kids, grandkids, great-kids. I'd like for them to stand up and recognize my family. So now about the winner of this award. We'd like to congratulate J. Rue on this. I know my father would be well pleased with you receiving this award. Tremendous athlete. When you see some of the video, you'll understand what I talk about. He had 2,800 and plus yards passing, over 1,300 yards rushing, led the nation in touchdowns with 47. Tremendous athlete. And in the honor of my father, I'm glad to present this award to J. Rue. So let's watch some video on J. Rue. Thank you.
When facing J. Rue Campbell this season, it was pick your poison. This 6'5" junior was the most dynamic, dual-threat quarterback in all of college football. He threw for 2,931 yards and 27 touchdowns and ran for 1,480 yards and 21 scores. And the most productive running quarterback in Division II was also one of the country's most efficient passers. J. Rue ended the season as the country's 11th most efficient passer. A threat to score every time he touched the ball, J. Rue became the first player in the 111-year history of Ferris State football to run for a touchdown, throw for a score, and catch a touchdown pass in the same game. And he led the Bulldog offense to 5 600-yard games and 7 40-point performances. A popular team captain, this was the reaction when the team received the news that their quarterback was the Harlan Hill winner. Please welcome your Harlan Hill Award winner, J. Rue Campbell of Ferris State.
I don't really want to point out anybody individually, so I won't forget y'all. But first and foremost, I want to thank God for blessing me on and off the field. I want to thank the Touchdown Club. I want to thank my coaches at Ferris State, all the support I got. Of course, my family. I really want to thank my auntie and my girlfriend for coming to Arkansas with me. Like I said, I hope I ain't forgetting nobody, but yeah, all glory go to God, and I'm real appreciative and real honored. And oh yeah, I'd like to thank the Harlan Hill family too. I appreciate y'all, and like I said, all glory go to God. Thank you.
Let's ask all the party from Ferris State and the AD coach and J. Rue's family and girlfriend, please stand. Let's welcome them all the way from Michigan. Round of applause for them. Perk, thank you for being here. And how about the Harlan Hill family? How outstanding is that? Thank you for to come here. It was great, great to have you here. Now, Rex, I don't know if Rex realized this. We didn't mention it, but we mentioned Dan Hampton. Dan Hampton is one of the greatest Bears of all time. Well, Harlan Hill was one of the greatest Chicago Bears. If you go to Chicago and they list the top 10 greatest Chicago Bear players of all time, it's that guy right up there. Matter of fact, his image right there, he's wearing a Chicago Bear Letterman jacket right there. So, Jerry, thanks so much. Great to have you in the family. J. Rue, congratulations on being the top Division II player in America. Our last national award is the Cliff Harris Award. As Judy Henry mentioned earlier, Cliff is so deserving of this award. This award is over 3 divisions, Division II, Division III, and NAIA, 500 colleges, 5,000 defensive players. The reason there's a Cliff Harris Award is because Cliff came from a small school, NAIA school, wasn't recruited much out of high school, wasn't recruited much out of college, but he just turned into one of the greatest safeties to ever play the game. Desmond, Roger Staubach spoke here. As a matter of fact, I'm going to mention the connection you have with Roger Staubach. Roger Staubach said that Cliff Harris changed the way the safety position was played, the greatest safety of all time. And we argue about the fact, and I'm still not giving up, is this man deserves to be in the NFL Hall of Fame, for sure. But you know what I love about Cliff? Cliff said, you know what's really more important to me? He said, you know, man, the NFL Hall of Fame would be great, but I'm so honored to be in the Cowboy Ring of Honor because there's only so many Cowboys, and as Desmond was talking about earlier, all the great Cowboys, to be in the Cowboy Ring of Honor is one of the great things. And Cliff dives into this. Cliff watches film, calls scouts. I mean, he gets into this 100%. So Corey Ballantyne being our winner is a great testimony to Corey Ballantyne because, you know, you've got the Cliff Harris thumbs up. And if you were wondering, you can turn on your TV this weekend, and you see two of the guys that were honored here with the Cliff Harris Award playing in the playoffs this weekend. One is Marquis Christian. He's the nickelback for the LA Rams. I think he won this award 3 years ago. He'll be starting for the Rams probably the next couple of years. That's what they project him to, the safety out of Texas, one of the Division II schools out of Texas. And then Pierre Desir, which is maybe one of the great stories in the NFL this year. He was cut 3 times from 3 different teams, but the Colts took a chance on him, signed him to a 1-year deal, and he's been one of the best corners against the best receivers the last few weeks. And the Colts, of course, have a challenge. But root for number 35, Pierre Desir. It's a great story. But without further ado, he's Arkansas's own. Please welcome Cliff Harris, everybody.
Thank you, David. It's great to be back in Arkansas again. This is an exciting night with all these players up here, and looking forward to hearing Desmond and all the awards that go on. These guys, it's one of the things that we're trying to do and accomplish with our with the Cliff Harris Award is bring recognition to the small schools, D2, D3, and NAIA. You know, and the Harlan Hill Award's going to help on that, and we're really happy to see this happening. Out of all these great players that are nominated, that send in their nominations, very few of them even have a chance to even try out for the pros. What we're trying to do is bring recognition to these guys and give them a better opportunity to break into pro football. Pierre Desir, you know, made a big play against Dallas Cowboys and helped them beat us. So I was kind of pulling for him and kind of wasn't. But he's a good guy. And this year we put a lot of time and effort, and David and I, we talk and we argue. But we've come up and we've got a really good system that we use in analyzing these players and spend a lot of time and effort and energy and film time and all that. And then we talk to the pro scouts. We talk to the Cowboy scouts. The Cowboys have this system that we've devised for small colleges now, and we're going to see what they're going to do with it. And but I'm real pleased. This young man that we picked out of all these, I think we had close to 150 nominees. These guys are players of the year for 2 years in a row, All-Americans for 3 years in a row, and just don't get a lot of recognition and don't get the opportunity and that I'm hoping that they can get in pro football. This year we picked a young man, I hate to say this, but he kind of reminded me of me. No, but he's a lot faster. And that he ran the 400 meter. I ran the 440 in college, and he's a track guy, and he's a return guy, and he's a defensive back, and we really think he's got a great opportunity. The scouts liked him, the Cowboys liked him. He had the honors. We talked to his coach, Coach Schurig. Are you here? There you are, right there. That's his coach there, and your defensive coordinator with him. So glad to have you here. But it's what we hope for this is to be able to bring, Desmond, just a little hint, that we bring some acknowledgement that these guys are not just great players when they make a play, but they're a small college player, and that they get an opportunity and wakes the public up that there are great D2 players. We're really pleased, and I can tell you, Judy Henry, I thank you very much for, and Wright, Lindsay, and Jenkins, that continue to support us in this award. Without you, we wouldn't be having it up here this year. But I'd like to introduce, we're going to do this through a film. So do you want him to stand up first? Okay, so here's what we're going to do. We're going to let you look at this video. The young man's name is Corey Ballantyne. He's from Washburn University in Kansas. And let's watch the video, and you'll see why we picked him as a player as the Cliff Harris Award winner.
You don't have to watch Corey Ballantyne's highlight tape for long to see why NFL scouts are so interested in this small college star. This is one of the few times that opponents tested this 200-pound All-American cornerback. His tackling? Let's just say that Corey Ballantyne brings the thunder. To say Corey is fast in his pads is an understatement. Watch him on this play. The 4.4 40 sprinter comes all the way across the field to make a touchdown-saving tackle. We're talking about a star player who values special teams. He became an elite kick blocker at Washburn. Corey blocked 3 kicks this season. Corey didn't block this kick, but watch the effort he makes, catching up with his teammate and delivering one final block. That's what makes Corey Ballantyne so special. With his speed, strength, and non-stop motor, Corey reminded our panel of judges of the man this award is named for, Cliff Harris. And later this month, Corey will become the first Washburn player ever to take part in the Senior Bowl. And he'll go into that game with one impressive title. Corey Ballantyne is the Cliff Harris Award winner.
Thank you, Joe. Thank you, guys. Thank you very much. Good to be here tonight. Corey. So, Corey, you want to get up and say a word or two here?
All right, cool. So I got a couple of names that I want to point out, first of all. Hopefully I don't forget anybody. But first and foremost, I want to thank God for giving me the abilities that I have, the many talents that I have. I'm blessed to be able to play sports, multiple sports, play instruments, read music, do a lot of things. I'm smart. So first and foremost, I want to thank God for all that. Second of all, I want to thank my parents. My parents have always supported me since I was younger. My dad was the one that started me in sports, and my mother is always my biggest fan. My mother actually got a trophy about that size for being the loudest parent in the stand. So I love her for that. She embarrasses me sometimes, but there's people that don't have that type of love in their family, and I wouldn't trade it for anything. So I love you. And I want to thank my sister as well, because she doesn't get enough credit. She gets the pleasure to be dragged to 100-degree track meets and below freezing football games. And she's definitely missed school for my events, and she's managed to keep a 4.5 GPA. So shout out to my sister for supporting me. I'd also like to thank my coaches. Washburn was one of my few football offers. I was mostly recruited for track, and they saw something in me that nobody else saw, and I appreciate you guys for molding me into the person I am today. I came into Washburn about 160, thought I knew how to work hard, and they showed me what real work was. So I appreciate you guys for taking that investment in me. I want to thank Cliff Harris as well. I think we have multiple things in common. We were both track guys, and we both play the game because we love the game, and also we both love to hit hard. I mean, when we get to the ball, it's no playing games, period. So I hope to embody everything this trophy means and represent you well. And I thank you for giving me this award. I'd also like to thank the Lindsey Jennings firm for putting all this on, and the Touchdown Club for allowing me to be here and share this moment with you guys tonight. So that's all I got to say. Thank you for having me. Have a blessed day.
I want to say we're going to set up the room here real quick for Desmond. But interesting, did you see the hit that Corey had where the helmet came flying off? Is that, Coach, I believe, was he ejected for, first they said it was targeting, but then they came back and said it was not. That was, I'll just tell you this, Corey, if targeting was around when Cliff Harris played, he would never have played any games. Cliff would even hurt his own players in practice. He hit so hard. But that is great, the fact that Corey the fact of the matter, Corey is a 10-500 meter guy. And but he said when he ran track in high school, he ran the 400 meters. Well, that's exactly what Cliff Harris ran in high school, was the 400 meters. And so one of the things that people complimented you about, Corey, a lot of your competition, your coaches said, what people may not know, he may run a 4.4, but he's the most physical guy you'll see, and you saw that. So anyway, we wish you the best of luck, Corey. I think you're going to follow in the footsteps of all our other Cliff Harris Award winners and representing Cliff, the Touchdown Club, your school. And we want to welcome parents, sister, coaches. Please stand up, all of our folks from Washburn and the Corey Ballantyne Party. Father, coaches, great job of raising this young man. All right, without further ado, grab that mic. Come on up here. I'm going to give a little introduction to our special guest. Now, you guys in this back row, we're sort of going to be, Des, you sit right there. But you can see the screen up there if you want to do that. So our guest speaker, as I mentioned, football royalty. There's only been 4 men in the history of football that won a Super Bowl MVP and a Heisman. He's also a very decorated and very amazing broadcaster. He still holds the record for most, I believe it's punt return yardage in a single season in the history of the football, NFL. Think about that. He still holds the record for most return yards in the history of the NFL. So, Desmond, for us, the way I look at this thing is that when I bring in somebody like you and these young men get a chance to see it, I love the fact that they're getting to see a little bit of history. So without further ado, let's give a Little Rock Touchdown Club welcome to the one and only Desmond Howard, everybody.
Oh, thank you. Thank you.
Check, check.
Thank you. Please be seated, please. Thank you. You guys are far too
What's that?
kind. Thank you very much. First, it's really an honor to be here. Anytime I get an opportunity to see football players and be around them and talk to them, and especially be a part of a banquet, I like to take advantage of the opportunity. Obviously, I met David, and we're in the elevator, and he has just, this energy about him, as you guys can see, and he's the type of guy, he asks you a question, and when you're in the middle of your answer, he's on to his third question, And so, as you guys know, David. Yeah. So, even though I had a long week, I was on the West Coast for over like 10 days doing the Rose Bowl, then the national championship game, flew back to Miami. Said I still got to go out here and support Dave and support this Touchdown Club. I think you guys have a tremendous club. You can tell how strong it is. So give yourselves a round of applause. This is a great, fantastic Touchdown Club. And it reminds me of my days. I was born and raised in Cleveland, Ohio, and we had a Touchdown Club. And just being a high school football player and being acknowledged is just a great thing. It's tremendous. So congratulations to all the winners, everyone up here, the coaches, and to the families. This is a special night, and I just really appreciate being a part of it. To Jerry, you played touch football with Elvis. Once I played a pickup game with Tupac, I don't know if that counts, but just saying. To Corey, it was some hits in that thing. Yeah, damn, you just such a nice smile with such anger and aggression, though. I tell you what, Corey, but if Cliff ever ran that fast in his dream, he would wake up with a torn ACL, okay? And I'm saying this as a dedicated Cowboys fan. I'm talking like when I grew up in Cleveland, but I was the biggest Dallas Cowboys fan. I was telling David, listen, when we went out to play street football, like, kids don't do that anymore. It's like I'm probably aging and dating myself. But we played street football. And when we played, like, I had to be Tony Dorsett. Like, one guy would be like, okay, I'm Walter Payton. Okay, I'm Earl Campbell. I'm like, I'm Tony Dorsett. If I wasn't Tony Dorsett, there was going to be a fist fight. In the streets of Cleveland, I'm 12-0, just let you know. But so when I heard it was a Cliff Harris Award, I'm thinking, okay, this guy David must have had like some college buddy named Cliff Harris who he used to drink with and then smash like cans of beer on his head. I mean, because it couldn't be the Cliff Harris. So I'm just really, really honored to be in your presence because I grew up. I had a Dallas Cowboys bike. I had Dallas Cowboys. I was a running back. Yeah, I was a running back. I had a Dallas Cowboys bike, Dallas Cowboys linen, like Dallas everything. So it's really an honor to be here. And, man, you are a tremendous player. I do believe you deserve to be in the Hall of Fame, too. Yes, sir. But go out and let David ask me some questions so we can have a little fun tonight.
You got college and high school guys up here on the stage. What do you remember about when you were their age? Obviously, the recruiting process, just playing. What kind of high school coaches did you have?
Oh, well, I had a tremendous high school coach, and he's one of my favorites. He was he's a legendary coach. He's no longer with us, but his name was Bill Gutbrod, and he was just a legendary Cleveland high school football coach. He served in the war. He was a veteran, and he was crazy, and but in a good way, crazy. In a good way. He was a disciplinarian. This was back when we can actually practice 3 times a day. Like we had 3-a-days. Yeah. So I mean that's considered child abuse nowadays. But he was very strict, a disciplinarian, and just the life lessons that he taught me. Not only so I went from him, that coach was a legendary high school coach, then I went to Michigan for a legendary college coach in Bo Schembechler. So just the discipline that they taught me, the selflessness, the value of team, things of that nature. And these are just life lessons that I carry with me throughout my days beyond the football field. I talk to people and they talk about game day. They say, I was talking to John, and John was like, yeah, John's the banker right here. I'm sitting next to him. We're still working on our deal. 17 billion, huh, John? Yeah, all righty. I gotta get a loan? So listen. And so I was telling John that he hit the nail on the head when he said that it seems like with game day, like you guys really enjoy each other. And that's true. We have great chemistry because I think you have some former players and that type of background. We understand the value of teamwork. And when you watch game day, I think you do see at least 4 guys who you believe when they leave that stage, they can go out and have lunch together and enjoy each other. And I was telling John, like you see other pregame shows, you just don't get that feeling. And so it's that teamwork and that camaraderie is something that has stuck with me, beyond my football years.
Desmond, as you've gotten older, you separate yourselves from guys this age a little bit more and more. And so sometimes they might forget just, how good you were. So I wanted to, let's punch up Matt. Let's punch up. This is one of the great punt returns in the history of college football. This was Michigan when Desmond, I believe it was at Ohio. Was it at Ohio State when you?
Ann Arbor.
It was Ann Arbor. Yeah. So I want you to watch the acceleration, one of the most explosive returners of all time, and then what he does at the end, which is now known around the world as one of the great touchdown celebrations of all time. Matt, roll the tape.
Tim Williams in the punt, averaging just under 38 on 44 kicks this year. Nice high kick, got a little wind under it. And it runs Howard back. Oh, but it's loose. Look at that. Oh, my goodness. One man. Goodbye.
All right, here it comes. Boom. And, of course, you went on to win the Heisman. That's obviously everybody. I mean, that's got to be a great moment to be able to look at that and enjoy that moment time and time again.
Yeah, that was a tremendous moment for me. And, I like to tell, like, players, especially because these guys know that I wasn't supposed to catch that ball inside the 10-yard line. You guys do understand that, right? Right. So what happened was, it's a big rivalry. Ohio State, Michigan, huge rivalry. I'm from Cleveland, from Ohio, so now it means even that much more to me because I'm playing for, the enemy, so to speak, for those people in Buckeye State. So, I'm scoring all these touchdowns during the season. I'm like the front runner for the Heisman, but I knew that Ohio State's whole deal that day was we're not going to let Desmond Howard score. If Ohio State lost by 50 points and I didn't score a touchdown, they would have got back on that bus, traveled to Columbus, and had a party. Like that was their whole deal. So I was frustrated because, as a player, you want to make a play. And the general rule of thumb as a punt returner is you put your heels on the 10-yard line and you never retreat. If the ball is going to travel over your head, supposedly it's supposed to bounce behind you, bounce into the end zone, and then you start on the 20-yard line. So that's the general rule of thumb. But me, being the competitor that I am, I'm like, well, I don't see any kids in here, right? I said some expletives, and I saw the ball going over my head, and I just retreated because I wanted to make a play. And they weren't giving me an opportunity just by the way they set their defense up that day. So I took a couple of steps back. But then, David, when you make that decision, then you're kind of vested. You got to make something happen. So now any punt returner that's worth his weight in, salt, that he has to make the first guy miss. I mean, you got to make the first guy miss. Like I always tell my blockers, leave the first guy to me. You guys get the next wave. Right. So I made the first guy miss, but there was another couple of Buckeyes there. And I'm thinking, man, listen, if these guys tackle me inside the 20, my coach, Gary Moeller, is going to be pissed. He's going to be pissed. So I made these guys miss, right? So now I'm looking, and it's the punter. So I'm like, Corey, hey, there's no way he's going to catch me, right? So I just went down Ohio State sideline, and I'm just thinking at this point, what am I going to do when I get in the end zone? Yeah. And it's like mental Armageddon because I want to do a backflip. I really do. But I'm wrestling with myself all the way down. If you do it, yeah, that'd be great. If you don't, you'll be on SportsCenter for the wrong thing. Shit, what are you going to do? So I crossed the goal line and just impromptu, just did that pose. I've never practiced it, never really thought of it. It just came to me probably, I'd say, inside the 5 when I really chickened out of doing that backflip. And it's something that's been celebrated ever since.
And Matt, the picture of Desmond with the Heisman, you go on to win the Heisman, and now you're part of that special fraternity. There is a young Desmond Howard. What's it like being a Heisman Trophy winner? It's a small group of guys, but it's got to be a very unique and cool deal.
It's a really cool fraternity to be a member of. It's only one member per year, and it's a great group of guys. I was also talking to John about the only 2 times that we really get together is at the actual Heisman ceremony, which is in December, and then we do the Heisman House commercials that are just absolutely hilarious. But the guys they're great. The Heisman Trophy Trust, they do a tremendous job, and it's just it was a huge honor to be picked that year because going into the season there was a quarterback named David Klingler. And David Klingler was a quarterback from Houston. And these guys, they used to throw the ball all over the field. Right. And before the season, they had a picture of David Klingler on the cover of Sports Illustrated holding a bundle of dynamite. They really did. And this kid's going to be the next Heisman Trophy winner. So, I never thought about winning it. I'm in Michigan. Back then, we just ran the ball 93% of the time. Pretty much. Called it 3 yards in a cloud of dust. So I never thought I would get, enough targets or enough touches. So I just wanted to be the best player I can be. And that was my whole goal. I mean, I come from the Bo Schembechler school of thought when it's the team. And I just wanted to do anything and everything I could anytime I got my hands on the ball to help my team win the game. And it just so happens that at the end of the year I was awarded with the Heisman. So it was just that great because it was a team effort.
Speaking of making a play, Desmond, you were playing with Keith Jackson down there for the Green Bay Packers. Your quarterback was Brett Favre. You had Reggie White. But it was that day against the New England Patriots. Raymond Berry was the coach, who was a former assistant under Frank Broyles. Same kind of situation. You can impact the game from a special team standpoint, and you really did that day. You set a record. I don't think it's – first of all, there's never been a Super Bowl MVP that's been a special teamer, so you're the one and only. But I think you had around 250 yards total. Matt, let's show these guys that maybe if they have not seen this play, this was a play that not only broke the back of the Patriots but also won him the MVP along with his other run backs.
Because when they started to come back, that's the one they finally kicked.
Here is a high floater. Boy, this is a nice kickoff. Desmond Howard has to back up. Can't get the run from the goal line to the 5, to the 10, to the 15. Through a hole to the 20, to the 30, outside, to the 40. He may be gone. Midfield, to the 40, the 30, the 25, 20, the 10, 5. Touchdown for Desmond Howard.
A new record a minute going here. Desmond Howard, every time he gets the football, he is some kind of terror.
I'm speechless.
Yeah, so that was, I think, a 90-yard return. How about a round of applause for that MVP performance there? Same kind of deal, just sort of felt it was the moment to make a play, and sort of describe how that happened?
Yeah, well, what happened was, we played the New England Patriots, and by this time, our special teams, we were considered like the X factor. Like, special teams is a weapon. They have Green Bay has a really good special teams, so we know we have to eliminate the special teams. It was going to be a great matchup. Brett Favre, Drew Bledsoe. They had, Curtis Martin. We had Dorsey Levens. I mean, we had, a lot of firepower on both offenses. So it's like field position is going to be key. Field position is going to be very important. So they implemented a scheme where they would kick the ball high and short on kickoffs, which would disrupt our timing. Now, back then, when football was football, we could run a wedge.
I don't know if they know what if
they watered it down a little bit now. You can't do that stuff. But so we had our returns set up, but they would disrupt our returns by kicking the ball high and short. So Curtis Martin had just scored a touchdown. They were closing the gap. We were still in the lead, but they had the momentum, and you can feel it. So it was one of those situations where you just needed something big to happen. And I think their kicker, Adam Vinatieri, who's about 57, he's still kicking today.
He's playing this weekend.
Playing exactly. So I'm just saying, brother, you want to be kickers. I'm saying y'all can play a long time. For a long time. Adam, I think, got excited. I don't know if, he just forgot the game plan, but he kicked it to like almost the goal line. So it's like a 99-yard kickoff return. So he kicked it to like the 1, and it was just the perfect kick for our return. We had a middle return. He kicked it right dab smack in the middle of the field. He kicked it far enough that we could set our return up. And Don Beebe was back there with me. And as Beebe approached the wedge, I saw just a little crease. And Beebe's about my size, so he doesn't need much space to get through a crease. So he got through the crease, and then I got through the crease. And if you watch the video, some guy on my right side, he grabbed my face mask. But listen, don't rely on the refs because they're not going to do their job all the time, right? So as I broke that face mask, that face mask, I saw Vinatieri, number 4. So again, just like the Ohio State return, I'm trying to figure out what I'm gonna do when I get in the end zone, right?
You were looking up at the camera at some point too, right? The screen.
Right.
Yeah.
So there's a picture of me on the cover of Sports Illustrated where I'm looking up at the big screen just to make sure everyone's far enough behind me so I can get across the goal line and do the robot.
Which he did. He did the robot. Yeah, some of these kids probably know what the robot is. I love the fact after the game, Desmond's on the podium with Brett Favre and Reggie White. You got Keith Jackson here, who is one of the great tight ends of all time. What's it like playing with guys like Keith and those guys that I just mentioned?
I'm going to tell you, coming into that season, Brett Favre, and Keith can tell you, Brett Favre was just getting out of rehab that summer. Brett Favre had won his 3rd consecutive MVP of the NFL. He was MVP of the league 3 consecutive times. He just got out of rehab for painkillers. So the press was kind of on Brett. They were, they like a negative story, and they were on Brett. And another one of our teammates who's no longer here was the great Reggie White. So when I got to Green Bay, I noticed all the negativity from the media about Brett, but also noticed how the teammates circled around Brett. It's almost like a family member who people are trying to pounce on, and then you just become a tighter unit. And that's the feeling that I got when I got to Green Bay. So fast forwarding to the Super Bowl, my whole goal was we got like greats, like first ballot Hall of Famers. We got like Reggie White, impeccable career, but doesn't have a Super Bowl ring. We got Brett Favre, 3-time MVP of the league, but does not have a Super Bowl ring. My whole goal was just to go out there and play as hard as I can to try to get these guys. We had Dorsey Levens. We had Keith Jackson. We had Edgar Bennett. I mean, we just had like some guys who were great, you know, all pros, but they never won a Super Bowl. So my goal is like, I just want to go out there and help these guys get a ring. And just to do the best I can. Like you said, why would I ever think, I'm going to tell you a story. So I'm sitting in my hotel room in New Orleans, right? And I get a knock on the door. So I go to the door. I open the door up, and it's a person who says that she's a representative of Disney. So I represent Disney, blah, 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 yada, yada. I'm like, okay, yes. She says, I just want you to know this is the protocol in case you win MVP of the Super Bowl. So I open the door wide. I said, where the hell is Brett at? Brett always playing games. Where's that damn Favre? Where, Brett, you such a jokester. I thought I was being pranked, I promise you. And she said, no, seriously. I was like, okay, well, I feel honored that you guys are thinking about it. I'm going to feel with Keith Jackson, Brett Favre, Reggie White, you know, and the list goes on and on. We even went out and got Keith's boy, Bad Moon Andre Rising off the streets, right? Bad Moon Rising. So I'm on this, I'm like, whatever. I'm just going to go out there, just play as hard as I can, try to get a ring. And at the end of the game, you said I was on the podium with Terry Bradshaw and Reggie White and my man Brett Favre.
You know, you look around, you've got the best players in the state of Arkansas. You got some of the best players in the nation here. What's the game of football? You know, I don't know if you guys realize we're getting ready to celebrate the 150th year of football. I've had a chance over the last year to do some studying about the game back in the late 1800s. But what is it with these guys you're talking to? What is football? What has it been important to you? What are the things that have taught you, and why do you love the game so much?
Well, it teaches you life lessons. You know, first of all, it's a great team sport. Teaches you how to be selfless. It teaches you how to be accountable. It should teach you discipline, hard work, dedication, sacrifice, things that you will carry for you the rest of your life. You will forge relationships and friendships that should last you a lifetime. I know I have, from guys when I played Little League football in Cleveland, Ohio. And the relationships with your coaches, I was very blessed. I had tremendous coaches, and they meant a lot to me. Now, I would never say that because you hear the word father figure oftentimes, and some young men need that. I did not need that. My father was omnipresent in my life, so I would never say that. But those coaches picked up where he left off. So when my dad sent me to Ann Arbor, I left Cleveland, then Bo Schembechler picked up where my dad left off. So there are just numerous, multiple life lessons that I've learned and I've carried with me today. I mean, I'm still very disciplined, very committed to a goal once I set my goal. And I attribute that, you know, first and foremost to what my dad instilled in me, but also then what my coaches helped to carry on.
Last question. Matt, if you show the picture, you alluded to this earlier about the Gameday crew from ESPN. It's a great chemistry. This is I'm not sure what even year this.
Guys.
Yeah, it's you know, working with Lee Corso and Kirk and now Reese. It's got to be a grind. I mean, it's got to be a grind. But man, how much fun is being able to go to all these great locations across the country?
It is a grind. I was I was in the Bahamas, but so I had to call a game called the Bahamas Bowl.
I saw that.
Yeah, and
that wasn't as much a grind.
Well, I know, but I'm gonna tell you. So it's a quick little story. So I'm sitting next to the head coach of FIU, Butch, his wife. Her name is Terry or Tammy. See, when I'm sitting next to Butch's wife, and Butch's wife is like, she's tremendous, and we're having a good conversation, and she understands because she's the wife of a coach, the grind that's involved. And she said, you know, the travel and everything that the toll it takes on you. And she was saying, you know, people like to glamorize what you do. They glamorize your job. I said, you're 100% right. I mean, because what they see is what you just saw on that picture, which is, you know, the final product, but not all of the work that goes into it. It's just like football, though. Like, what people see when we're out there on the field is that final product. That's us doing our thing, having our fun. But they don't see the hard work that goes into that allows you to go out there and perform and play the way that you play. And it doesn't even start in fall camp. It starts like now, winter conditioning. You go from winter conditioning, then you go to spring football, then you have summer conditioning, then you go to fall camp. But they don't see that grind. It's the same thing for television. You know, my week is just incredibly busy because I have the East Coast and then I have the West Coast. So as I'm, you know, covering the Big Ten teams, you know, SEC teams, maybe the Pac. Then after that, I have to deal with the Pac-12, so the West Coast teams. So that's a whole different time zone. And now I have to talk to Stanford or USC or UCLA or Washington State. So it's almost a whole day, you know, until I leave, which is on the Thursday. So, but it's that final product though that keeps you going because you love it and you know you have that passion for it. Just like David has the passion for this touchdown club. I mean, it comes across. It came across in the elevator when I met this man. You know, so it's, you know, it's no denying it, and it's the same. That's how we feel, and it's genuine too. Like what you see Saturday mornings at 9 a.m. Eastern is genuine.
When you when Desmond wants to kick back a little bit, I hear that you're a collector of vinyl. That you're into back into vinyl records. So is that a hobby of yours?
It is.
Listen, some of these kids don't know about vinyl records.
Yeah.
Like, what the heck is a vinyl record?
Exactly. But if any of you kids got parents who don't want their vinyl,
see Desmond.
Instagram. Hit me on IG. They know what IG is. But yeah, I like it because the authenticity of the sound to me is rich. It's certain songs are the soundtrack of my childhood, but the way they're played as opposed to like a CD when it's been digitally remastered. I love the sound of vinyl. So yeah, I do collect vinyl.
You have a favorite album of your vinyl collection that you love the most? Is there one you go to?
Wow. Well, I grew up a huge Michael Jackson fan.
Okay.
So, I mean, I got Thriller.
Thriller on vinyl.
Yeah, Thriller on vinyl. I mean, I don't think you know, for that genre, for that era. Now, if you want to go jazz, then you go like Miles Davis and you go, Coltrane, which I got that stuff too.
All right,
I go deep, brother. I go deep.
Ladies and gentlemen, how about it for Desmond Howard, everybody? Unbelievable. Desmond, great job. That's right. Let's give him a Little Rock Touchdown Club. Welcome again.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you. You guys are tremendous. Thank you very much. Appreciate you.
All right, let me tell you what we're going to do. Since Desmond's plane was a little late, I know a lot of the players did not get their picture with Desmond. So what we're going to do, Desmond, we do this every Monday with Mean Joe and Too Tall and Zonka. We've got our man Dwayne Duncan. So all of you honorees, Matt, you can go ahead and kick up the music when I'm done. But Desmond, we're going to leave you right here. And all you honorees, we're going to have your picture made with Desmond. If there's time, if you want to try to get your parents up, maybe. But the most important thing is getting all the players because we know we got to get on his way back. So, ladies and gentlemen, let's give another round of applause to our outstanding athletes, our honorees. Thank you for being here, and we'll see you next year. God bless you.